concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, guys? How you liking this footage, huh? That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Oh, I'm gonna let it play out. I'm not gonna. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna land soon. I really thought I don't know why something is 3 minutes and 36 seconds. The song is 4 minutes long. Why is it still playing? Something doesn't add up here. I can't do math. The song is 4 minutes long, though, right? How is it? I don't know. What's up, you guys? It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m. where I am here in America. And we're looking at some footage here. This is the Insta361R camera. I stuck it on my Beast class because, of course, right? And I just thought I'd show you this because it looks I mean, it's a lot of improvement. There's a lot of improvement. Yeah, I did start the song before the video, Gatman. The song is 4 minutes long. The video is 3 minutes 30. So I gave the song about 30 seconds to play in. And then I thought, anyway, this isn't perfect. There's a lot of vibration coming from the camera hanging off the back of the quad. If you could hear the quad, it sounds like shit. It's like, look at a lot of vibration. Hold on, I'll show you. Listen to what it sounds like. Hold on, I'll do this. Oh my god! When I first heard that, I was like, am I gonna smoke my motors? What's happening? But the motors were cool, and I was like, let's just give it a go. So I got work to do to get good footage, but it actually shows you just how good the stabilization is on the freaking thing. Hold on. Gotta clean my glasses. The stabilization's pretty good. Hold on a second. I'll show you the unstabilized version. I just thought that would be fun. I think I'm gonna make an intro just of the quad flying, because when the stabilization is turned on, it tries to keep the horizon level. The 360 cam doesn't care. And so the quad is like swooping and diving, and it looks so badass. But then the minute you do like a split S, the stabilization doesn't know where the horizon went, and it gets really confused. So I'm going to do like, I think I want to do like just flying straight, swooping and diving, and no split S's, no inverts. It's going to look badass. I also got to figure out a better way to hang the thing off the back, because this is just a selfie stick, and it's hanging out so far, and it's just shaking and rattling. So I got to work on this, but I'm going to figure it out, and I think it's going to look freaking badass. Like, just like... Oh, God, don't make that sound. Stop. Look at that. So badass. That's so badass. Come on. Oh, my God. That's so badass. If it weren't vibrating. It would be badass. What's up, guys? So I've been playing with the Insta360 I also have the GoPro Max. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a review of those, working on them. But first, I got to just play with them and figure it out. So, oh... Welcome to the live stream, guys. I'm very happy that you guys are here. I'm very happy to be here. I hope that wherever you are, it is peaceful. And I hope that the worst thing that you're dealing with right now is having to spend time inside with your family, who you normally get to ignore and go to work. And if anybody out there is going through a tougher time than that, and you're watching my live stream, well, I'm going to do my best to take your mind off your troubles and help entertain you. So if anyone has any ideas about how to properly mount a 360 cam behind like my Beast class, such that, number one, I want the selfie stick to be invisible. So it's going to have to like come off at an angle, right? And number two, it can't like be vibrating around. If anybody has any good ideas, because I know this is a problem that's been solved before. I just had to rig something up. And anyway, let me know. Don't tell me here on the stream, because I'll probably miss it. Reach out to me. Message me on Facebook. Let's talk about options. I should talk to, I bet Paul Nurkel or Zoe has an option. That's an idea. It's Monday night. We're going to do a live stream, and my live streams are Q&A live streams. Questions and answers. Questions and answers. Here's what I got in front of me, in case you're new here. This is what I got. I'm going to be answering your questions up here in the chat. What do you think about the Transtech Beetle Mini? Transtech Beetle, I did a review of it. It's freaking amazing. It's unbelievably good. That's the short answer. Jack Hagerman, search my channel for Transtech Beetle. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I forgot to post the announcement. And hello, patrons in the live stream. Chat, what's up? I forgot to post an announcement. Hang on. Copy. Q&A live stream start. Oh, I don't need to be in all caps. Live stream starting now, actually, 4 minutes ago at come hang out with me and hashtag live stream chat. If you want to be on my Discord, you can join my Patreon for as little as $2 a month. I can forget to notify you about my live streams and other things. What's up, guys? Nukes, John Solo, Sharp Pizza FPV, Sam D12, Jail Gassa. Welcome to the stream, you guys. So, let's get some questions. Let's kick it off. What's a good thing to practice on the simulator while you are trapped inside social distancing? My philosophy is practice whatever you are bad at. My weakness as a pilot, and the reason that I'm not, there are three reasons why I'm not a better pilot than I am. Number one is I'm 45 years old, 40 something years, I think 45 years old, 2020. Yeah, I'm 45 years old. Let's just face it, I ain't got the reflexes of a kid. And that just counts for something. Sorry, kids, it's coming for you. But I do okay. Number two, stick time. I spend so much time making videos that I don't spend as much time flying. That's just where my priorities are at. What can I say? Stick time. Number three, and this is what I want to focus on. I tend to do the things I enjoy, and that is the things I'm comfortable with and already good at. and I tend not to push myself out of my envelope as much as I ought to. So what I would say is, if you want to get better in the simulator, pick something you're bad at and work on it. And the best way to do that is to inspire yourself by watching somebody else be good. Go watch your favorite freestyle pilot, look at a trick that they do, and then go in the simulator and work out that trick. Okay? Just pick one. Maddie, Maddie Stunts, he's been doing some simulator live streams where he works in a simulator and practices tricks, and I saw him doing some tricks, and I was like, he's got a trick he does where he flips upside down, and then he does a Maddie flip backwards, like through a gap. And I'm like, that's a good trick. It's a simple move. Just flip, and then pitch forward and pitch back over. But he's doing it through a gap and around an obstacle. And I'm like, that's good. And so just find yourself something that inspires you that you can't already do, and then just work it. Work it until you get good at it. There you go. Whoever inspires you, man. Whoever inspires you. Killa Bees in the Discord is enjoying the live stream with a Pabst Blue Ribbon. Hey, I'm not going to judge you for the beer you drink. PBR, man. PBR. It does say something about a person when they drink PBR. I'm not going to say what it is because it says something, though. A certain kind of person drinks PBR, and you're that person, Killa Bees. Killa Bees says, every shekel that I put towards the Patreon Discord is worth it. Not just for your help, but also the community. That's awesome, dude. Killa Bees actually does have a question. I bought the drivers, the M3, the hex drivers off your list. They're insanely tight in my M3 screws on my quad. Any reason why? Killa Bees, I find that those drivers are really actually surprisingly precisely machined for how cheap they are. And they go in tight and they grip really good and they don't strip things out. But it does mean that they stick a little bit, and you got to wiggle it a little bit to get it back out. I just think that's good. It may be that the screws you got are slightly, but I don't think so. I think that that's just they really lock in there, and I feel like that's a good thing. If they're like actually literally hard to get, I couldn't tell you whether it was your screws or the drivers that were machined wrong. But those drivers, I like that they go in pretty tight. I am slurping. I'm slurping. I'll try not to. If you're one of the people out there who's slurping drives you crazy, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna drink during a 2-hour live stream. So, I do my best, but at the same time, yeah. Jack Hagerman is telling us there's a 2-inch Beetle. I flew the 2.5-inch. Hard to say, man. I would have said that a 2-inch quad couldn't possibly carry an air unit. It's too heavy. But I think Gep RC put an air unit in their rocket, and it's a 2-inch, and there you go. Killa Bees says, if you drink PBR, you're a damn good guy. That's what it says. That's what I meant. Brickman MC wants to know, can I start FPV without a simulator? Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing. You should start in the simulator. I know that's not like cool and fun and sexy, whatever you want to call it. When you first start flying, you're going to crash. Now, there's a number of times that you're going to crash before you get good enough. The first milestone in FPV is when you can take off, fly around for a little bit, and then land and not crash. You actually get to just come home and land. And the thing is, until you get to that milestone, every one of your flights is going to end in a crash. So, get that out of the way in the simulator. That's my thinking. Because in the simulator, when you crash, nothing breaks. You don't even have to get up and go walk. You just hit the reset button and you try again. And if you insist on getting how many crashes is that? It's hundreds. It's hundreds of crashes for most people before you get to the point where you can actually just fly around for a minute and land and not crash. You're still going to crash, obviously, but it's going to be hundreds of crashes typically. And you get those out of the way faster if you're not having to get up and walk and get your quad every time you crash. And if you're not having to buy and replace things. because you broke them. So you should start in the simulator. It's just the thing to do. But if you insist on not doing that, be my guest. There are people out there, mostly young people, who just pick it up and they just like are like, oh, I get it. And they can just like fly from day one. But most of us aren't going to be like that. So anyway. Matt DeWurst says, no way, just baby steps. Doesn't take long. Hey, you're one of those people, Matt. You're one of those people. Just test it in the simulator. Because if you can fly the simulator okay, you'll do okay in real life. I have, apparently...
Here's what I found on the web.
No. I'm not talking to you, Google. I usually turn my phone off during live streams, but I forgot to do that. Looking for a frame. Rafael Sepulveda. Looking for a frame for 1507 motors and an air unit. Any suggestions? Ooh, what about the iFlight DC3? That's a 3-inch frame. 1507 motors make me assume you're doing 3-inch. And an air unit, iFlight DC3? Maybe. It just comes to my mind. Oh, let's see here. They out of Fresca at our grocery store. We got Fresca right here, baby. I don't know what it is. As soon as the quarantine happened, I just started. In 1 week, I baked a loaf of bread. I made butter from heavy cream, because we were out of butter and I wanted butter, and I was like, I can make butter. So I just got in 1 week, I just became Martha Stewart of the farm. So they out of Fresca. I'll figure out how to make Fresca. I don't give a damn making Fresca. No, I can't make Fresca. KV reminds us that the DC3 frame is nice, but the camera is not protected. So what's a good 3-inch? When people ask, what's a good 3-inch frame for 1507 motors? I think the Acrobat. Because with 1507 motors, you're doing a heavier 3-inch build. So the Acrobat comes to mind. But the Acrobat, has Tommy updated the Acrobat to carry the air unit yet? I know he did put an air unit in an Acrobat, but I think he had to custom mod it. Tell me in the chat, is there an Acrobat? Because if it's available, then that's totally an option too. iFlight IH3 V3. Wolfox Benny wants to know, is it a mistake to make the throttle stiffer than the yaw to avoid throttling while yawing? If you want to avoid throttling while yawing, wouldn't you want to make the yaw stiffer? So this is a problem. If you are the kind of guy who runs your gimbals super loose, there's nothing wrong with that, but it does mean you're more likely to accidentally deflect the stick, like when you do rapid throttle moves. And you could be doing this and not even know it. When I watch my black box logs, because I'm doing this 3 packs a day challenge, and as a part of that, I'm recording black box and stick movements, and I'm watching them while I edit. And you could be surprised when you push the throttle rapidly, you'll deflect the yaw axis by accident. Or when you'll do a front flip, but you accidentally inject a little roll without meaning to. Stiffening up the gimbals will prevent that. But if you want to stop moving on the yaw axis, shouldn't you stiffen up the yaw axis, not the throttle? Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with having the yaw be super stiff but the throttle loose. Nothing wrong with that. Brian Kirby wants to know, can you put 3D on a switch so that you can hit a switch and go 3D and back? Yeah, Brian, absolutely. And in fact, that's what Zoe does. Zoe was just talking about this the other day. And she starts every flight in normal mode with the throttle down. And then in the middle of the flight, she switches to 3D mode. It's just an aux mode. It's in the mode tab. And that's what you do. Rafael Sepulveda says, I have the Acrobat, but the air unit's a tight fit. Yeah, I would think you'd want the Acrobat extended just a little bit to get the air unit in there. What do you think about Eachine? Asks IAX. I want to buy a Tyro 89 for the garden. It took me a while to learn that when people from Europe, or I guess it's UK, when they say the garden, they actually mean the yard. They'll literally have a garden in their yard. What are you getting? I've lost your question now. I've lost your question. I was so busy talking about your garden. I've lost your question. Where's the... Oh, no! I can't find the question. DJ Dub says, I've built about 4 Acrobat Duos with a full-size air unit. It's a tight fit, but it fits and it flies awesome. Okay, so it sounds like if you're looking for a 1507, the Acrobat should be on your list, definitely. Catalyst Machine Works Massive Droner is being built for the Vista. That's okay, Calabrese 221, but I would rather have the full air unit than the Vista. The Vista is good, but the heat dissipation issues and the ability to record on the air unit, to me, I would rather have the full air unit. Multiple people saying that the Duo fits the air unit in the Vista. Okay, so... Eyal Markovich says he got DJI. The goggles are rebooting during flight. Eyal, most likely what's happening is that your battery is pulling on the plug, like your battery cable. So what I do is take a zip tie and just zip tie the cable to the buckle that the head strap goes through, so that you can't accidentally pull on that a little bit. That's my guess as to what's happening, man. Let's see here. Can the Squirt V2 handle a 4S 1300 with or without GoPro? OCDFPV in the Discord asks that. OCDFPV, you can run a 4S 1300 easily with a GoPro on any of those Cinewhoops. The thing about a Cinewhoop is you're not doing acro with it, so it does make it heavy. But actually, that kind of is good because it kind of steadies it out just a little bit. You totally, if you're trying to do a little faster and more acrobatic flying, you're going to want to be down around a 4S 850, and you'll get a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of flight, but reasonable speed and accuracy and agility. But then if you're trying to do purely smooth cinematic flying, go up to like a 4S 1300 or maybe even a 1500. I'm pretty sure I flew on a 1500 because I don't have a lot of 13s. Go up to that, and even with a GoPro, it'll still have plenty of power to do smooth cinematic flight, and you'll get much longer. You'll get like 5 to 7 minutes instead. So yeah, totally OCDFP. You can totally do that. Ryan Clausen wants to know if I turn off camera stabilization. Ryan, I almost always turn off camera stabilization because hang on. Don't spam the chat. Don't spam the chat, you jokers. I almost always turn off camera stabilization because I feel like most of the time I want to show off my flying abilities, such as they are. And I want to be honest with you about what you're seeing. But there's two types of things, right? Like think about this. Like think about somebody who's like playing the guitar, right? And they're going to do they're going to play some amazing complicated guitar piece and show off their raw talent, okay? Now think about someone who's playing the guitar and they have like a MIDI controller and a looping pedal, and they are making music. They're making a song. The point is, what is the intention of the piece? Is the intention of the piece to show you the pure artist's skill, or is the intention of the piece to create something that transcends the artist's skill? Okay. So it's like the difference between a photograph that is just a photograph, unretouched, developed and sped out, and there it is, versus something that someone has like photoshopped to the... Neither of those is good or bad. You just have to be honest. The place where it becomes a problem is if I show you a photograph and I don't tell you that I photoshopped it, and then I'm being dishonest with you and you don't know what you're getting. So people get mad when pilots use stabilization. They think they're cheating. That's not true. It's not cheating. it's just making a different kind of content. You just have to know what you're getting. Most of the time I fly with stabilization off. Sometimes I turn it on depending on my goal for the flight. Sometimes I forget that it's on and leave. And at the end of the flight, what you'll see is that the quadcopter will land and the frame will go just a little bit. That's the last of the stabilization finishing up. And I'll go, oh crap, I forgot and left stabilization on. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about that. Some people say, oh, he's cheating. Nobody's cheating. They're just making a different kind of art. Anyway. Michael Nichevsky, solder is not sticking to the flight control board. Any ideas trying not to damage the board? Michael Nichevsky, usually that means that your soldering iron is not getting heat into the board. Your soldering iron itself could be too cold. You could have an oxidized tip so that although the tip is getting hot, it's not transferring heat through the oxidation into the board. You could have poor surface contact. If you're using a very small, thin tip, it will not have a lot of surface contact and it won't move heat into the board. Yeah, those are some of the things that could be, but you're not getting heat into the board. The number one thing that people do is they use an iron that doesn't have sufficient output power, or the iron is set too cold, or the tip is so thin that, pardon me, the minute you touch the pad, the heat just gets sucked out of it. So use a heavy tip, use a temperature-controlled iron, and make sure your tip is like clean and new. Zachary S. wants to know if I burn out a motor on a Tyro 119, can I get a replacement anywhere? I'm not sure if you can like just buy that exact motor as a replacement, but you could buy, there's tons of motors out there you could use as a replacement. And they're probably better than the motors that come on a Tyro 119. If you burn a motor out on your Tyro 119, take it as an opportunity to upgrade to a better motor. That hardware is good enough to buy, or I wouldn't put it in a video, but it's not great, objectively. Crossfire Mini versus R9M own drone. Oh. Here's the deal, dude. The question you're actually asking, own drone, is how far can you go on 250 milliwatts? You could go so far with a good antenna setup. Can you go 4 miles on 250 milliwatts? Probably. 250 milliwatts can go way further than you think. Here's the thing, dude. If you seriously intend to fly 4 miles out, you can't afford to take a chance that R9 is going to screw you over. So, and I know, hang on. Right now, someone out there is typing, that's not true. I've flown R9 for months and years. I've been 500 miles into space on my R9 system. It has never fail-safed. It has never let me down. You are misrepresenting the quality of R9. I acknowledge that there are people out there who are thoroughly happy with R9. The thing is, the fact that some percent of people are perfectly happy with it, you don't know if you're going to be in that percent. So you got to ask yourself what percent of people are having problems with it. And like Free Sky with his BS with the firmware is not compatible and it won't bind, and the flex and the access and and then sometimes it binds but then it fail safes, and it's just like, why put yourself through that? By the time you save money buying R9, and then you go through all the hassle you have to go through to actually freaking get it working, and then maybe it works for you or maybe it doesn't, but you're just going to be like, just buy Crossfire. Just buy Crossfire. It's true that the R9 module does 1 watt, and the Crossfire Micro only does 250 milliwatts. That is 100% true. You probably can get as far as you need to get on 250 milliwatts. And if you seriously can't, like, I would be thinking about getting the Crossfire Lite module. And guys, listen, guys, am I a TBS shill? Of all the companies that I am accused of shilling for, have I ever been accused of shilling for TBS? Right? If you know the history, you know. So, the fact that I just go, guys, just get Crossfire. Crossfire's good. That should really tell you something. If you want to try, if you are the kind of person who is not afraid to flash your receiver again and again and again until you find the firmware that works right, then R9 can work for you, and R9 can work, okay? But many people, when they see the hassle that... Let me give you an example. I went to fly my Beast class today. Haven't flown it in months. It's all ready to go. 3 cameras. 2, the GoPro Max, the Insta360 1R, and a regular GoPro. Record, 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 settings correct, ISO, ProTune, recording, everybody's recording, sync, plug in the battery, ready to fly. It won't bind because I updated the firmware on my Crossfire module and I didn't update the firmware on the receiver. Oh no. I just want to get this flight. But Crossfire just does over-the-air firmware update. I go into the Crossfire Lewis script and I go bind and it says update receiver. And like 1 minute later, the receiver's updated, the firmware is ready to go. I'm flying. R9 can't. Well, R9 does have over-the-air firmware updates. You can buy them. But it's just Crossfire. It's really good. Okay, now that my Crossfire commercial is out of the way, let's get on with the questions. Bad Dachshund, thank you. R9 can do over-the-air firmware updates. If you bought the R9 OTA receiver and module, because Free Sky, Joe, don't tell me that you weren't pissed about this, because Free Sky sold R9 modules, and then Access came out, and Free Sky said Access is going to have over-the-air firmware updates, and you can upgrade. And then it turns out you got to buy a whole new receiver to be able to use the over-the-air functionality. Oops. So all these people who bought R9 receivers and thought they were going to get over-the-air upgrades, oh, nope, you got to buy a whole new receiver if you want that. And it's like, just F you. F you. Why would you do that to your customers? Yeah, and you have to be using Access. And you have to buy the R9 OTA receiver. You can't just do a firmware upgrade on your existing receiver for some reason. No. Anyway. All right, moving on. Moving on. Let's get some super chats out of the way. It's about a half hour into the stream. I've ignored the super chats long enough. Let's get some super chats out of the way. Thank you, folks who gave super chats. I hope you're still here. I wasn't ignoring you. I just get on a tear. You know what I mean? Mark's Drone Works. Yeah, before I do that, as somebody asked, should beginner get Crossfire? If you have a lot of money and you don't care, and you're out there, doctors and lawyers and engineers with more money than time. If you're a 16-year-old kid trying to get into FPV on a by mowing lawns or whatever kids do these days, then don't get Crossfire. 2.4 gigahertz is fine. Just get Free Sky or whatever and use it. But if you have a lot of money, Crossfire is... The only downside of Crossfire really is the money. Okay. Mark's Drone Works, thank you for $14.99 Australian dollars, dollary dues, as I like to call them. JB sending a hi from Bris, Vegas, and Oz. Don't have any questions, but because whenever I have a question, you always have a video that answers it. That's my goal, Mark's Drone Works. Thank you for the donation. Blas Gallegos, thank you for $10 in the super chat. QX7 with Crossfire TX Lite, currently using PPM from the radio to TX. Oh, why? Ew. PPM. Why? Okay. The Crossfire protocol doesn't work. I have done the inverter mod. Okay, so here's the deal, Blas Gallegos. Excuse me. Here's the deal. The inverter mod only affects the upstream communication, not the downstream communication. So even if you completely effed up the inverter mod, you still should be able to use Crossfire downstream. What'll happen is that the controls will work, but the telemetry doesn't work, okay? So set aside the inverter mod. There's no reason why the Crossfire protocol shouldn't work. There is no reason. Since you're using the Crossfire TX Lite, what I would suggest is that you check the wiring going to the plug. Like, you have to do the wiring yourself instead of just plugging into the JR module bay. Check the wiring and make sure you haven't accidentally screwed up the wiring somehow. Like, The only thing I could guess is maybe a wire or a pin is not quite right, and like the digital protocol is corrupted, but PPM sneaks through. There is no reason why QX7 can't do Crossfire control. Upstream telemetry, you have to do the inverter mod. That's a weird one. It shouldn't be like that. Lenny Gordon, thanks for $10 in the super chat. Does my wiring look okay? I'm going to click on this link from Lenny. For $10, I guess I will check your wiring live on the live stream. I mean, it's $10 is a very generous super chat. Google, just get, oh, so, oh yeah, right click. Let me right click and open a new tab. No. F you, Google, you're so, right click, open a new tab. No. So annoying. Google Drive. Okay. Oh, I don't even know what's happening now. Can I? Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what we got. We got a plug between the ESC and the flight controller. I happen to know that the Kakute F7 uses UART 7 for ESC telemetry. Let's check your ports tab. Wait. Where's UART 7? Oh, that's the HDV. My bad. Let's look up a pinout diagram for the HDV. I hate it, 507RC. There is nothing in the world that makes me as frustrated and angry in the moment as when you take away my right click. Like, there's things in the world I care about more, but in the moment, I will fly into a violent rage if you take away my right click. I hate it. Anyway, don't take away my right click. Where is the... That is... Okay, that's the plug for the air unit. Where is the dang... Oh, come on. Where's the pinout diagram for the ESC? How about the manual? All right, we'll look at the manual. Control click, maybe. I just want the... There we go. Here's the pinout diagram. No. I just want ESC telemetry. There we go. UART 7. But, oh, hang on. Why do you only send me 6 UARTs then? Okay, so already something doesn't add up. There are supposed to be 7 UARTs here, and you showed me 6 UARTs. So I don't know why that is, but I would definitely, Lenny Gordon, I would definitely want to answer that question. You should have 7 UARTs. The Kakute F7 has 7 UARTs. I'm going to hope that you just, like, cut it off of the screen or something. Anyway, UART 7 should be ESC sensor. Moving on. And then here, for the air unit, we've got T1 and R1. The TX and RX is for the MSP connection. So you should have MSP enabled on UART 1. It's unfortunately the Holybro doesn't ship this by default. UART 1 should have MSP enabled. And R6 is going to be for S-Bus. So UART 6 is going to have serial RX enabled. I don't know why. And UART 4 should not have serial RX enabled. So UART 6 serial RX, UART 1 MSP, and UART 7. UART 7 is going to be ESC. Yeah, Calabrese221 points out he might be on the wrong firmware. That's true. If you accidentally flashed the incorrect firmware, you would have the wrong number of UARTs. So Lenny Gordon, you need to make sure that your target is Kakute F7. One of the nice things about the Holybro flight controllers is they do use the same target for all of their controllers, and that's actually why on the Kakute F7 HDV, the UARTs are not set up correctly for DJI. They should create a new target for the Kakute HDV and change the default UART config so that it's set up correctly, because DJI people don't want to deal with that nonsense. Oh, okay. So hang on. You're using the Crossfire receiver, though. You've got your Crossfire receiver going to Okay, so you're not going to be using S-Bus. Your Crossfire receiver is going to TX to RX, R4 and T4. Okay, so you want UART 4 enabled for serial RX, and that is what you've got. So that is correct. Okay. And the V-Fly finder is buzzer minus. Yeah, that's all correct. Okay, so that's the only thing I would change is your MSP connection needs to be on UART 1. And I don't know why you don't have UART 7 for your ESC. Okay, I feel like that was $10 worth of time in the live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did enjoy that, I actually have a video, Flight Controller Wiring for Beginners 2020 Update. Shush, Joshua. And it takes you through the process of creating a wiring diagram. So if you have an ESC and a flight controller and you're not sure how to wire them up, it takes you through the process of creating the wiring diagram. You can check that out. Moving on. ETFPV, thanks for $2. Robert Fontanosa, thank you for $10 for everything I've done. Make my hobby even better. Thank you. Yeah, Boyd, thank you for $10. Thanks for the help in Discord. Next Fresca's on me. You buy a lot of Fresca for $10, my friend. Joshua Owen, thank you for $10. Join Patreon today. Much love and support for you. Thank you, man. Also, clicking your links before purchase on Amazon for support that cost me nothing additional. Wow, could not have paid you to give me such a good endorsement. Thank you, dude. Do likes on your YouTube videos have much effect? I mean, I assume likes are important. I don't really, hustle for likes, but yeah, I assume they're important. I don't really know. Grant Thorns asks, why use Crossfire if you're starting from nothing and using DJI? Good question, Grant. I like to use the same transmitter for all my quads. I don't want to carry two transmitters with me when I go to fly. So if I have any quads that cannot bind to the DJI controller, I'm not going to use it. Number two, the DJI controller is very easy to set up, but very simple. You can't do advanced mixing, for example. Can't do it. Could it even do a simple Elevon mix for an aircraft? Not sure about that, but definitely can't do the advanced mixing that I do in OpenTX. So I want my OpenTX, my Jumper T16. And that means that I'm going to put Crossfire, even on my DJI quads, I'm going to put a Crossfire receiver. There are a few DJI bind and flies out there that I don't bother putting an extra receiver on. I just fly them with the DJI controller. But here's the thing. I am never going to take one of those on a Rotor Riot trip or anything because I refuse to bring two transmitters with me. Anthony Short, what advanced mixing do I do? What advanced mixing do I do? Anthony Short? Anthony, what if I told you that you could put all of your aux modes on one channel? One channel, my friend. Turtle mode, angle mode, beeper, one channel. What if I told you? Let me see if I can find the final mix. So, yeah, that's pretty advanced, huh? Heck yeah. Look at that. You want to know more about that? Here's the video. Save all your aux channels. Can't do that with a DJI. Jay Larson wants to know when my beginner guide iNav video will post. Jay Larson, here's the deal. I have almost finished the beta flight. The beta flight section will finish this week. It is 99% done. There are two things remaining. One is I need to show you guys how to do soft serial to get telemetry working. And two is I just need to button it up, finish putting it all together. That will post this week, promise. I really wanted to get that done last week, but it just was so much stuff. I was not able to get it all shot and edited. Then I had a phone call with Pavel Spikowski. Thank you, Pavel Spikowski. He is an iNav developer and an iNav guru. He graciously took, it was probably 45 minutes or even an hour out of his day to walk me through. I mean, I could just watch his videos, but he gave me some of the ins and outs. So I want to make sure that the iNav tutorial is good and valuable and not just dumb. So I hope to begin shooting that this week. And realistically, you probably won't start seeing it until next week. It's my very first iNav build. So, I mean, I promised to do it, and I really try not to be that guy who promises to do something and then never does it. I almost never just bail on a project. But, yeah, so it's going to take a minute for me to actually get it done. Ooh. Let me finish these super chats. I'm still working my way through the super chats, guys. No, I was caught up. Oh, that's nice. Well, I'll get Oxazy out. Thank you, Oxazy, for €5 in the super chat. Is there any slimline FPV goggle under $200, which is better than the EV100? Dude, oh, that's a terrible question, man. Here's why. The EV100, I think it is a bad decision to get the EV100. It's so small. The screens are so small. Like 24-degree field of view. I feel like most people would be so much better served by a box goggle, a good box goggle. Box goggles aren't sexy. They're not, let's face it, FPV goggles aren't sexy. But if you want a slimline goggle under $200, is there a Sky Zone? Can you get a Sky Zone for under $200? I feel like the EV100, I feel like, I'm going to insult some people, and I apologize in advance for that. If you have the EV100 and you love it, the first question I want to ask you is, have you ever owned a different set of goggles? Because I think a lot of people buy the EV100 as their very first goggle, and they don't know what they're missing. And that's a little bit insulting, so I don't want to insult. If you're like, no, I just like them. How dare you? Okay, I respect that. But EV200D is around 300, I think. Yeah. Best beginner goggle around $300, Aiden FPV. If I had to pick one, I think I would take the Sky Zone O2C. I have a video, best goggle around $300. I have a video. See, we're just plugging all my videos. No! Hey! Hey, Google! No! No! Downvote. What? Damn it. I need to be... That hurts, man. That hurts. That really hurts. Anyway, I have a video. Best FPV goggle around $300. I'll paste it in the chat. And you can go watch Stu's video if you like. Amway Commander V1S for around $239. That's not bad. The original Amway Commander, they're not bad. Around $200. Try to get a used set of something. Yeah. Bad Dachshunds in the Discord says, you can't say Google on the live stream. You made my phone freak out. Watch this. Alexa, call mom. Alexa, turn off the lights. Okay. What's your actual experience and opinion with the TrueRC range extenders for DJI? Would it be possible to do a real-life comparison on range for freestyling through obstructions? Mandoc, I think you're talking about the TrueRC antennas, like the directional antennas. They improve range. It's to be fair, they're more directional. So, like, when I flew with goggles at my house, I borrowed a set of goggles, and they had the TrueRC X-Air antenna on them. I had to turn my head a little bit as I flew around my house because they were that directional. So you gotta want that. But they definitely significantly improve range and penetration in that direction. I mean, I couldn't give you a number, but Definitely. That's definitely an improvement. Yes! Yes! Jay Larson 42 in the Discord says I had to turn the lights back on. Yes! So worth it. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist, dude. So worth it. Oh, exactly, Ron Borsi. The beam width is not that tight. It's like 120 degrees or something, but it's definitely tighter than an Omni, right? Okay. How do you do long-range FPV legally? Asks SoFly Drones. Everyone who's doing long-range is just breaking the law. In order to fly beyond visual line of sight, you're supposed to get a waiver. And the way that you could legally do long-range would be, excuse me, apologize, would be to have a visual observer that chases the quad. So what you need to do to be legal in the United States is the pilot has to be in communication with a visual observer. So what you would do is you would have a cell phone call or a walkie-talkie, okay? The pilot would need to be on a headset so he could communicate without using his hands. And the visual observer would be like in a vehicle chasing the aircraft as the aircraft flew so that the aircraft was never beyond visual line of sight of the observer. Obviously, nobody's freaking doing that. Nobody's doing that. You can get a waiver to do BVLOS, but like I don't even know if they've ever. I think one team got a waiver to do it, and they made a video about it, and like it was a big freaking deal. Yep, John Solo, you could have several observers posted along the course with walkie-talkies. That would also be legal. But let's face it, guys, when you go on the TBS Lounge and you see somebody do a 20-kilometer long-distance run or something, I think it's fair to say they probably didn't have a visual observer, and they just were like, F it. DTFPV says visual observer must be co-located with the pilot. Are you 100% about that, dude? I may be misremembering. I thought you didn't, but I could be wrong. Bill W. the B says, how many got infected at that meeting in Washington? I got to tell you, everybody so we all went to Washington, D.C. for the protest. Some of you may remember that. Others may not know what we're talking about. There was a protest against the FAA. A bunch of people who got sick afterwards, including me and Bachgrinder. I don't think it was coronavirus. We can't be sure. But the symptoms that everybody had were just the common cold or flu. I don't know of anybody who reported that they ran a temperature, and we all had, so I don't think it was coronavirus. I think it was just the cold. People are confirming that according to United States Part 107 rules, the visual observer has to be co-located with the pilot in command. That's interesting. I had forgotten that, or maybe I never knew it. So it means you would need a waiver, period. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up. I'm not sure about that. Rotor Riot did that video where Stingy flew, and Stingy was chasing the Raptor, the desert car, and that was supposed to be legal long range. The whole point of that video was that it's legal to have your visual observer be on a phone with you. I think we should double check this. Recreational flyers. Well, we got a link to the recreational flyers, but I'm talking about 107. I mean, that's just what I'm talking about. 661 FPV says Rotor Riot breaks the law. Look, we all break the law sometimes, guys. I'm tired of people getting up Rotor Riot's butt because sometimes Rotor Riot breaks the law about something. Like, did you speed on the way to work? Calm down. You have to think about whether the law that's being broken, like what the effect is. In this case, though, hang on, we're not gonna go there. In this case, the whole point of the video was legal long range. So it would kind of be dumb if the video didn't demonstrate legal long range. Okay. FPV Freedom Coalition. I'm getting links from the Discord to the FPV Freedom Coalition guidelines. Scroll all the way down. Okay. There you go. Well, co-located and indirect contact. All right, I got to check on this. I'm going to see if I can ask somebody. I'm going to ask Dave Messina. He is the head of the FPV Freedom Coalition. I'm going to ask Dave Messina and see if he agrees. If he says so, then I really think the... Okay, he's right here. He's answering. Oh, he confirms it. The visual observer has to be co-located with the pilot in command. Hang on. Maybe Stingy had a waiver. You know what? I'll bet Stingy had a waiver. That's the only way. That's the only way. Maybe he had a waiver, and that's why it was legal. If he had a waiver, then it was fine. Anyway. All right. Yeah. Kyle Thompson asks, to fly DJI HD, can I use the Jumper T16 or must I use their controller? It's a problem with drinking carbonated drinks on a live stream. You can use the Jumper T16, but you'll need to install your own receiver. So... Bad Dachshund says, technically every time you fly FPV, you break the line of sight rule. Goggles break the line of sight. So we are all guilty. Well, I don't know about you, Joe, but as a 107 pilot, I always have a visual observer. As long as you have a visual observer, it's okay to go to fly FPV. And I always have one at all times. So no worries. Is it possible to burn out a flight controller with a battery that has too high a current? The battery doesn't provide too much current. The motor controls how much current you take from the battery. So here's what I want you to think about it, M Patty 008. If you have a straw and you're going to drink some soda through the straw, how much soda comes up into your mouth? You suck the straw and you suck the soda into your mouth. The battery is capable of providing so much current before it just puffs. But the amount of current that the battery provides is controlled by the motors and the props. How much do they pull? That's the right way to think about it. So you can't burn out a flight controller with a battery that has too much current, because that whole concept is just flawed. If you're maxing out at 60 amps on the Larva X, you could burn something out because the motors are pulling too much current. However, I don't think you're pulling 60 amps on the Larva X. I think the current sensor on the Larva X is just not working right. There's no way you're pulling 60 amps from that tiny little battery. There's no way those motors are pulling 60 amps. I really don't think so. So there you go. Ken Heron is here. Where's Ken Heron? I gotta mark him as a moderator. Ken Heron. Ken's a moderator now. Ken, don't feel like you have any responsibilities. Although if you want to moderate people, you certainly can. Put people in timeout or whatever if they're spamming the chat or just don't like the look of them. I mostly make people moderators just to tag their names. So it's blue. Their names are blue. Ken's trying to get practice in when he can. Stefano Zanandrea wants to know whether to get the EV200D at $200 or the SkyZone Sky02X at $290. That's a tough one, man. I think the Sky02X is a better package overall, but the EV200D is pretty freaking good at $200. That's a tough one. That's a very tough one. Kyle Thompson, thank you for his $2 in the super chat. Appreciate your help. Probably should Patreon for Discord. It's up to you. Ken Heron, thank you for $10 in the super chat. How's things going on down at the compound? Ken thinks I live in a compound. These days, that's more true than it was. We're all sort of holed up in our compound. We're doing okay, man. We're doing okay. Hope you're doing good. Hope your dog is good. Compact Disco, thank you for $5 in the super chat. Do you know where I can find the ACCST RXSR F port firmware? Let's look. Oh, no. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to show you guys my whole conversation with Dave Messina, although I doubt there's anything, sensitive in there. So we'll go to download. Under receivers, we'll go to, RXSR. And we want ACCST firmware. And then we're going to go, do you want the new firmware or the old? Let's assume you want the old firmware, not the V2 firmware. So I'm going to hit this download link. Bingo. RXSR, F port, ACCST. Right there. There you go, my friend. Compact Disco. I'm going to give you the link right here in chat. There you go, my friend. That's the link that you want. MKME Lab is here. MKME Lab has got a check mark. Let's make him a moderator too. Everybody's a moderator on my channel. Just updated my Nano Talon to Crossfire while this show was going. Funny timing. You were talking about Crossfire. Once you go Crossfire, you just want it on all your quads, though. And 8Man in the Discord asks, I really want to move to DJI, but I'm concerned about durability compared to analog. What do you think of how it holds up? And 8Man, I got to tell you, the DJI Air unit is as close to indestructible as anything I've ever seen in FPV. I am not making this up. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. I'm trying to think of anyone I know who has destroyed an Air unit. Like, I know someone, no one I know has destroyed an Air unit in a crash. If you try to run it off a 6S without a voltage regulator, it will fry, but they are so durable. You could break, the number one thing that breaks on the Air unit, there's two things that break on the Air unit. One is the camera lens. If you smash the camera lens into something, it will break. That's a $7 replacement. You can actually put a run cam lens on the DJI camera. You just get you have to get the right one. Some of them have the wrong length of barrel. So you have to get the right one. I don't know which one it is off the top of my head. I apologize. That's not very helpful. But if you ever need to replace the lens, you can just get a spare lens, and it's not a big deal. The other thing is sometimes the MMCX connector on the antenna breaks off inside the Air unit. This is a flaw in the MMCX connector itself. It's not DJI's fault, but if that happens to you, it's a real hassle to get it out. So those are the two things that can happen. But other than that, it's nearly indestructible. Doghouse FPV, you are misunderstanding, I think, how the current shunt resistor works. Doghouse FPV asks, oops, there we go. Doghouse FPV asks, does anybody disconnect the current sensor shunt on their ESCs in order to eliminate losses on that shunt? The shunt is 50 milliohm. Voltage drop across them at 20 amps would be 1 volt. Doghouse, the shunt resistor is in parallel. It's in parallel. It's not in series. So the purpose of the shunt resistor is to drop voltage proportional to the amount of current that's flowing. But it's in parallel. So having that shunt resistor does not mean that the FETs lose voltage. That would be stupid. No one does that. That's not how it works. If you're desoldering your shunt resistors, you're making current sensing not work for no reason. I guess the The one difference is that because it is in parallel, what you basically got is a voltage divider. And by desoldering the shunt resistor, you're getting slightly higher voltage, but like fractions of a volt. It's not in series. It's in parallel. I hope that makes sense, dude. Let me make sure I type that to you in the chat. Wait, you're watching the stream, Doghouse, and I see you typing. Let's see what Doghouse has to say about that. Maybe I've misunderstood something. Who's spamming? Come on, mods. I got a bunch of mods. Dominic Clifton's here. Dominic Clifton is saying it's in series. The shunt resistor is in parallel with the load, isn't it? The shunt resistor shunts away a small amount of current. No. The shunt resistor forms a voltage. Am I wrong about this? Doesn't the shunt resistor form a voltage divider with the load? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Really? I thought it was in parallel and it formed a voltage divider so that it shunted off a small amount. Well, apparently I don't understand how a shunt resistor works. No, but where does the shunt... Something doesn't add up here. Let's see. Well, I guess I'm wrong. All the current goes through it, but well, that's silly. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. A voltage... Oh, wrong window. A voltage divider. Yeah. So here's your shunt resistor, huh? Well, I think I gotta look it up because it's strange that you would. Hang on. There's no way. I mean, Dominic Clifton would know. He designs flight controllers. Dominic, there's no way that we're throwing away 1 volt through the shunt resistor. Something doesn't add up here. Something doesn't add up here. Yeah, Doghouse, I agree it's silly. If you're throwing away 1 volt just to measure current, that doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. Something doesn't add up there, dude. I thought the shunt resistor was in parallel with the load, and then you measure the... Dominic Clifton says it's much, much lower than 1 volt. That's why it's in the milliohm range. So I think your math is wrong, Doghouse. Doghouse, I think your math that's calculating 1 volt of drop is wrong. I'm glad Dominic and MKME Lab, who also knows a thing or two about circuit design. I fake it. I always have to just look up the math when I'm doing circuit stuff. He says, oh, well, Doghouse, you may be Ohm's law. Yeah. I don't know about that. Well, it's a really voltage drop across a resistor. So this is what I do. I just look it up. Because obviously, as you can see, I don't know off the top of my head. Voltage drop across a resistor. There we go. What's the formula for the loss? I'm waiting for somebody to give the answer. I mean, the loss is not irrelevant. Anytime you're throwing volts away, you're losing power. Coelho FPV says the drop is closer to 1/10 of a volt. 1/10 of a volt is still not nothing. MKME Lab, you're right. You could just use a multimeter across the shunt, but you would have to do that under load. Cody Clemonade calculates that if the resistance is 1 milliohm, well, it's typically more like 50 milliohms. When measuring 100 amps, you lose 0.1 volts. Well, then at 50 milliohms, you would lose 0.5 volts. At 100 amps, you lose a half a volt. I mean, you're not wrong there, Doghouse. Doghouse, you're not wrong that a half a volt at 100 amps is not nothing. Dominic Clifton, you're a flight controller designer. You know, was that, should we be designing flight controllers without, or ESCs without current sensors to avoid this? Cody Clemonade, you would be measuring voltage drop, not ohms. All right, well, we're going to move on from this topic, but I appreciate you guys straightening me out. I don't know why I just, maybe I never thought about it before, but I guess I thought that the shunt resistor was in parallel. I see that it's not. It has to flow through the shunt resistor, doesn't it? Yeah. The actual value of the resistor coil is like, it's usually around 50 milliohms. 0.5 milliohms? Is that right? That's where it's wrong. Dominic Clifton says 110 amps times 0.0005 ohms. It's 50. Yeah, it's not 50 milliohms. It's even less than that. 0.5 milliohms. That's the problem. So losing 0.05 volts. That's not that much. Okay. Let's move on. I think that's long enough to spend talking about shunt resistors. Strangely, the number of people watching the stream has only gone up. Maybe we should talk more about shunt resistors. Hydra509, sorry for missing your super chat, my friend. No. Oh, these came in. I was working my way backwards, and I hadn't got to it yet, Hydra. No worries. Yeah, I worked my way backwards through the super chats. So, Lenny Gordon, thank you for $5 in the super chat. Thank you for looking at my wiring. The FXT Viper box goggles are amazing for quality. I actually preferred them over my Fat Shark Dom V3. Yeah, I like the Viper. I think the Viper is amazing. It's not like a sexy box. It's not like a sexy Fat Shark goggle, but the actual experience of using them is quite good. Hydra509, thanks for $5. JB, I'm fairly new to FPV. I have the DJI radio for my quad and Crossfire in my analog. Which is best? Should I stick with my DJI radio? Hydra, the advantage of the DJI radio is the simplicity. You don't have to install a receiver. You just bind your air unit and go. The ergonomics, I think, are fine. The build quality is great, but it doesn't support advanced mixing and other programmable features like the QX7. Crossfire is going to have longer range than DJI under most situations. Personally, as I said earlier, I hate taking two controllers to the field with me, so I just put Crossfire or FreeSky in all my quads. Almost all. Justin French, thanks for $5 in the super chat. Runcam Split 3 on a long-range 7-inch rig. Mach 3 VTX TBS Triumph. I'm flying and the picture just froze. The picture froze. The picture shouldn't be able to freeze. You had the Runcam Split 3, but... Oh, Split 3. Oh, yeah. So the split-style cameras can freeze up. What did it? There's no way to know. I think it's so risky, especially on a long-range rig, to use a split-style camera. Because if the SD card ejects, or if the SD card has a problem, the image can just freeze. It shouldn't be like that, but it is. An FPV camera will never let you down like that. They almost never freeze, or they just keep working. On a long-range 7-inch rig, you got no excuse for not having GPS, though. For long range, you definitely want to have GPS of some kind so you could return to home or save yourself if you ever end up in that situation. And now we are caught up on the Super Chats. Well, there's a few more that have come in, but we're caught up back there. So, Doghouse, to sum up that whole discussion about shunt resistors, number one, I didn't know how to shunt resistor works. I think what really happened is I just didn't think before I spoke and just spoke off the cuff. I have worked with shunt resistors before, and I've made the point that the current has to flow through the shunt resistor. I just think in the heat of the live stream, I got a little careless. So regardless, whether I was careless or just ignorant, number two, the shunt resistor, all the current does flow through the shunt resistor, and there is some voltage drop and power loss, but the value of the shunt resistor is so infinitesimally low that it's less than 0.05 volt. Yeah, 0.05 volt, according to Dominic Clifton, at 120 amps. So it's a very, very small amount. It doesn't matter. That's the thinking. Yeah, that's Piranha. That's the way to do it, though. Now, for a Hall sensor, is there loss in a Hall sensor? I know that the Hall sensor is also in series. The current flows through it. There's some downside to a Hall sensor, though. There's an Airbot flight controller that does use a Hall sensor. I can't remember what the downside of a Hall sensor was. Doghouse FPV thinks the shunt resistor is 50 milliohm, not 0.05 milliohm or 50 microohm. We'll see. Adam Hassan asks, do you think FreeSky R9 is worth it? Just bought one for 20 bucks. Hell, man, if you just bought it for 20 bucks, you can't really go wrong. Is it worth 20 bucks? Yes. Yep. Yep. Coelho FPV points out that if the shunt resistor was actually dropping a whole volt, it would get super hot. Think about that. If you're dropping 1 volt or a half a volt at 100 amps, how many watts are you soaking? It would just blow up. Good point, Coelho. Is it worth getting the Diversity Crossfire receiver on a 5-inch quad? In my opinion, no. For a 5-inch quad, the kind of range that you're probably flying at, you will never fail safe Crossfire on the regular Nano. The Diversity receiver is just another antenna for no reason. So, Coelho, 10 watts, 1 volt, 100 amps. 1 volt, 100 amps is not, is that, I have to look up the formula. I'm not going to embarrass myself twice. 10 watts is still a fair amount for a tiny little IC, though. You know. Voltage times current. That's what I thought it was, Juldor. If it's voltage times current, then 1 volt at 100 amps is 100 watts. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't going to embarrass myself. I know that sometimes when you calculate the one of those formulas, it's current squared. I don't remember which one, though. Yeah, 100 watts. Okay, Coelho. Well, we both get to go sit in the dunce chair, Coelho. Okay. Would Project Mockingbird work on the Tiny Hawk 2? Joseph, the Tiny Hawk 2. Nah, I don't know. I would want him to actually come up with a tune for it. The Tiny Hawk S on 1S is basically the same as the Tiny Hawk, the original Tiny Hawk. So if you had a Project Mockingbird tune for the original Tiny Hawk and you wanted to use it on the Tiny Hawk S on 1S, I'd say you'd probably find. But the Tiny Hawk 2 is different enough that I'm not sure the tune would copy. Ian F tells us that runcam splits freeze up when they overheat. Yep. Runcam, so maybe it overheated. I would never trust. The thing is, like on a 3-inch quad, on a micro quad, the runcam split or the split nano or the Caddx Tarsier or any of those split style cameras, that's just your only option to get high def. That's just it. So you go with it, and you sort of accept that there are some downsides. But on a bigger quad, I would never use one of those cameras as my primary FPV camera, because the SD card fills up and it locks up, or it overheats and it locks up. The beauty of an FPV camera is that there's just nothing to go wrong with it. So, Davey Vale, hello Brazil, hello Brazil. How's it going over there, man? No, I don't got the funk. No, Billy the Whip. I don't have the funk. I got over the funk. I got a little bit of a sniffle because the allergies are coming. The allergies are coming, man. These days, though, can I tell you? These days, so what are the symptoms of the word that if I say it, my stream will get demonetized? What are the symptoms of that virus? One of the things that is not typically a symptom is upper respiratory congestion. So you start feeling sick and you go, oh no, have I got it? And then you get a sniffly nose and you're like, oh, it's just a cold. Oh, okay. Anyway. Coelho FPV, thank you for $5 in the super chat. My T-Motor F60s came with race wire. What's the advantage of using race wire? The advantage of the race wire, two advantages of the race wire, Coelho. One is that if the prop strikes the arm, the race wire doesn't get cut, but regular wire does. There are various other solutions for that, though, so that's not. The other advantage of the race wire is if you have individual ESCs and you're trying to switch to a 4-in-1, but your motor wires are already cut short, race wire can be used to extend the wires easily. In general, if the ESC is accessible, like you're using the Luminaire Chief frame, that frame is so lightweight and trim that you could get at the ESC. So don't use the race wire; just solder the motors on direct. Eric LaPlante, thank you for $10 in the super chat. Any update when the Tango 2 will move from Freedom TX to Open TX? No word on that. I mean, not that I get any special information from TBS, but someone was asking in the TBS lounge, when will a bug fix be released for some of the bugs that are in Freedom TX? And Trappy came back and said, well, we don't want to do it piecemeal. We want to just release one firmware update that fixes all the bugs. So they're currently working on an update to Freedom TX to get the bugs fixed. So that's good. But when will they transition to Open TX? Unknown. I don't know. I know that the OpenTX devs can be pretty. They like things to go the way that they like them to go, and when vendors try to just sidestep, they can really dig in their heels. So I hope that we see Freedom TX get integrated into OpenTX smoothly, but I also wouldn't be surprised because it seems to me like TBS just said, we're developing our radio. We're just gonna fork. And that is, I've seen the OpenTX devs not like that in the past, and I wonder if they're not going to like it again. Is Fat Shark releasing a second iteration of Bite Frost? Yes, Eric. Fat Shark has posted in RC groups that they will be releasing, when? Don't know. Soon? Hopefully. That Fat Shark will be releasing a Bite Frost module that goes into Fat Shark goggles, and it fits in the goggles, and you can still use a rapid fire, so presumably it must go in the head tracker bay. I don't know how they figured that out, but it seems like that Fat Shark will be releasing a Bite Frost module that goes in the head tracker bay. R. Baron, thank you for $20 in the super chat. I've learned everything from you. Oh, that means a lot. I just flew my 90th pack working on my second quad. All DJI, you demand. Thank you. Devin Linares, thank you for $5. I recently DM'd you about some things. Do you think you can help me out? I would love to help you out, Devin. I don't know if I have just not seen your message. If you DM'd me on Instagram, unfortunately, there is a fair chance I won't see your message because Instagram messaging is kind of effed up. But you should email me or message me on Facebook, and I will help you. Thank you for your super chat, but I try to help everybody that I can. Spiagent, thank you for $2 in the super chat. What's the difference between acro mode and 3D mode in the sim? In 3D mode, when you move the throttle up, the motor's pushed down. When you move the throttle down, no, the other way. When you move the throttle up, the motor's pushed up, down. When you move the throttle down, the motor's pushed down. So in 3D mode, you can flip upside down and fly upside down. That's the difference. Joshua Owen, thanks for $10. Lux F7 Ultimate lights up, no USB Betaflight Connect. 7 other flight controllers, no problem. No, it lights up, but no USB. Woo! So normally I would say your USB cable is the problem. Many USB cables are intended for charging phones only, and they do not pass data. But in this case, 7 other flight controllers work, so your USB is fine, your computer is fine, everything is fine. I still would try a different USB cable. If it powers up on a good USB cable, but it won't... Do you see a new COM port appear? I think what I would do, Joshua, is I would try it in bootloader mode and try to get DFU to appear, and I would flash it. That's the ultimate fix. If you, yeah, the chat is just catching up. Use DFU mode. If you flash the wrong firmware on it or something about it got screwed up, DFU mode and reflash the firmware. That's the ultimate fix. Joshua Owen says no COM port. That could also be wrong target flashed. And Dominic Clifton says if no DFU mode, then the CPU is dead. That is true. It's almost impossible to screw up with DFU mode on a flight controller without just like physically damaging it. So let's see here. We're still talking about shunt resistors. This is a KISS 50 amp ES, is it 35 amp ESC from Doghouse, and this shunt resistor is marked 0M50, which he is incorrectly thinking is 50 milliohms. It is 0.5 milliohms. Cody Clemenade, thank you for that. So that's the confusion. I'm glad that despite the fact that I misrepresented how shunt resistors work, I'm glad that we did get to an answer. There's no shame in being wrong, because every time you are wrong, you have the opportunity to learn something. But the key piece of information here is that the shunt resistor is much, much lower resistance than Doghouse was thinking that it must be, and that explains why the voltage drop is much lower than, and frankly, the voltage drop is generally negligible, is the intent. So, also this soldering here is really, whoever did this solder joints, this is a real problem here. These wires are way too big, to be honest. Why are you using 12 gauge wire on an ESC? What's your point? Okay. Tiago Ramos, if he erased the USB port on Betaflight, I think he would he still see the COM port appear? DFU mode is the final answer. That's the final answer. And Doghouse, I appreciate you sticking with it until we found a final answer. Piranha 32 points out that 0.5 milliohm gives 0.025 volts at 50 amps, about a little more than a fifth of a volt. Not that much, but not nothing. Nukes asks, what gauge should it be? Nukes, for an individual ESC on a typical 5-inch build, there's no real reason to go above maybe 18 gauge wire. 20 gauge is fine. 22 gauge is even used sometimes. So 20 gauge is the baseline. 22 gauge is fine. 18 gauge if you really feel like it. The thing is that those wires are generally so short that the difference between 20 and 22 gauge is really negligible. It's just negligible. Yeah. Okay. Keith Sloiter says, can you comment on how many iterations of your flight controller there are? I've been trying to find the exact pinout for my board, but it doesn't match some of your pics from our website. Keith, the actual pinout hasn't changed very many times. There was the V1, then there's the V2, and the very first version of the V2 had 2 shunt resistors on it. And there's a trim pot that's used to trim. Then the manufacturer switched to using 1 shunt resistor very shortly thereafter. But other than that, I'm not sure what the difference would be. Keith Sloiter, if you could tell me what specific differences you're seeing, maybe I could explain them. Computer says USB not recognized. Joshua Owen, that means that the firmware is messed up. Try to flash it in DFU mode. That's the workaround. The F7 has a problem. You may have a dead ESC, a dead flight controller though. But try it in DFU mode. Can you not get driver fixer, Impulse RC driver fixer? What about that, Joshua Owen? Danger Dave FPV has an HX100 toothpick. What would cause random gray video? And also, I had the VTX change channel. It has random video loss. Random gray video probably means the camera came disconnected. The VTX changing channel, though, there's not much that could cause that. Other than maybe you pushed a button somehow accidentally. Sounds like your flight controller is messed up, though, dude. I would be, yeah. Corey B, I see that you're looking for answers. I don't know what your question is. B Rye, OSD flashes core temp 70 degrees. I don't know why. So here, core temp means that the microprocessor on the flight controller has gotten over 70 degrees. I don't know why some flight controllers run hot and others don't, but I turn off the core temp warning. Go in the OSD tab. Don't turn off the warning element entirely, but turn off the core temp warning because I don't care. I don't care. Some flight controllers run hot, others don't. I have never had a flight controller burn itself up or lock up or freeze up. Whenever I see core temp warning, I just go into the OSD tab and I turn off core temp warning and I never think about it again. I'm sure that someone out there is going to tell me that I shouldn't do that. But, like, yeah, there you go. Vic and Air FPV asks, is there any way to get rid of the for testing only warning on the Crossfire shot version of OpenTX? Vic and Air, not without recompiling it. As far as I know, not without recompiling it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Coelho FPV says 70 degrees is not that hot. That's the thing. Electronic components, I mean, 60 or 70 C is nothing. Even as high as 80, 90, or almost 100 degrees Celsius, they are not going to take damage. Somewhere above about 100 degrees Celsius, they may start taking damage. But, like, I wish they would set maybe you could change the core temp threshold, right? But core temp 70, 80, 90, who cares? Go fly, turn off the core temp warning, move on. That's what I'd say. That's like, that. I'm not saying that's good advice. I'm just saying that's what I do. AGU FPV, thanks for $5 in the super chat. Can you please watch this short clip and explain how this could cause my ESCs to burn out? I'll message you the link. Well, the short answer is that sometimes ESCs just fry, man. AGU FPV, okay, so, wow, okay. I don't know, I'm going to have a hard time finding your message, dude. I know you can't paste the link in chat because that's the rules, but oh, I got it. I found it. All right, let's check this video out. Let's see if we can figure out why your ESC fried. How long is the video? It's 18 seconds. Thank you for shortening up the video. I mean, so why did that fry your ESC? Anytime the motor stops rapidly, you have a chance of frying the ESC. It creates a giant voltage spike, and that voltage spike can pop the ESC. You shouldn't. The better designed ESCs are more resistant, but this one isn't even a mystery. Like, I thought you were going to show me something that was a real mystery, like you're just flying and it just fried. Then I'd have to just say, well, sometimes that happens. But AGU FPV, especially if that was a micro, the little 20 millimeter ESCs use smaller FETs that are more likely to pop. A capacitor can help protect you. But yeah, anytime the motor is jammed and stops abruptly, you have a chance of frying it. Dominic Clifton says you should use a TVS diode to protect against that. Motor wire may have come loose and shorted, says Nick Sebring. Definitely a possibility. A possibility. I mean, I think it just took a shot. Ian F says, has anyone recently ordered anything from China and received it? Ian, I have received shipments from vendors, not a product I ordered, but I have received shipments from China in the last few weeks to the U.S. Any inside info on when DJI will add the warning Betaflight OSD element, asks N8Man in the Discord. No, and I wish they would. They were cranking out the updates recently, until recently, and then it kind of slowed down. I don't know, maybe the whole coronavirus thing slowed them down. I wish they would add it. I don't know when they would. It's such an important element. I would give up something else. I would give up Artificial Horizon to get it. I wish they would. Oh, 007 says, I have also gotten stuff recently. Cody Lambert, are you going to be answering questions again this week? I answer questions every day. Do you mean a live stream? There won't be another live stream until next Sunday. Alden Hauser wants to know if DJI will ever make a digital module that could go into Fat Shark goggles. Alden, I don't see that happening. They won't even make a receiver that has HDMI output. Never mind a third party. I don't see it happening. I mean, they've surprised me before, but I would be shocked. Corey B, I found your question. Corey B says, I've bought the Taranis X9 Lite, and after updating it to 3.7, it's gone crazy in the receiver tab. It's mode 2 and TEAR bind is perfect, but the channel map is wrong. Can you just change the channel map, Corey B, in the Betaflight receiver tab? I mean, that's what I would do. Whatever combination of letters, AETR, RETA, TAER, whatever combination makes the channel map right, just change it and make the channel map right. KV wants to know if hitting twigs could cause the spikes. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime the prop is slowed abruptly, you cause a back voltage spike or back current spike, and you can fry the ESC. One of the most typical ways that this happens is when you're trying to turtle mode out of a tree. If you're in a tree and you're just going bonkers with the turtle mode, trying to shake the quad out of the tree, that's actually like the most likely time to fry an ESC, because the prop is just going that, and you can fry the ESC. It's more common on micros. Good ESCs will be very resilient to it, but especially like at speed in flight, dong, you rung the bell, and that's probably why it fried. Gary Slater points out that I'm touching my face. Gary, I'm just home. I've been home all... You can touch your face in your own home. That's the privilege of being in your own home. You can touch your own face. It's only when you are not sanitary. You know, I'm not leaving the house. I'm not touching your face. Okay, let's do this. Here we go, guys. Put your face right next to your screen. Oh, did that freak you out a little bit? Put your face right next to your screen. Here it comes. You're getting the coronavirus over the internet. Get ready. I don't have the coronavirus. Oh, Rap 7. Silly question, but can I run 1103 15,000 kV motors on 2S? I ordered 15,000 kV instead of 8,000 kV. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me, dude. Maybe with a throttle limit, maybe, but I'll tell you what, Rap 7, you try, I'm serious, try it with a 50% throttle limit, and you tell me what happens. I'm genuinely curious. Justin French, thanks for $2 in the super chat. Full throttle punches on 7-inch and it freaks out. 3.5 beta. Need a black box, man. It could be an ESC desync causing a death roll. I mean, freaks out isn't specific enough to really troubleshoot, so I would need at least a video, Justin French, if not a black box. Or at least a verbal description of what freaks out means. I didn't skip over a donation, Wonderboy. I worked my way backwards. I might have skipped one, but I worked my way backwards so that I don't, yeah. So I probably didn't skip it. I probably just am working my way backwards. Renee Jr. Wolin, thank you for 10 Canadian dollars. Nerk flew 12S on Brother Hobby 900 kV with no throttle cap. How? They're rated up to 8S. Here's the deal, Renee. Motor voltage ratings only pertain to the RPM that the manufacturer thinks the motor is rated for, and the power, the watts that the manufacturer thinks the motor can dissipate without melting. If you think about it, the insulation on the wire is good up to like 200 volts or maybe more. So the voltage rating on a motor, you could run a higher voltage through it, and the higher voltage itself won't be a problem. The problem will be that based on the kV of the motor will spin so fast and draw so much power that the motor will either desync or damage itself. Now, a lot of times that is conservative. It's not a good idea to run a 900 kV motor, 2812 motor on 12S. It's a bad idea, and most people shouldn't do it. And so the manufacturer rates that motor up to 8S. But if you know what you're doing, then you could do bonkers stuff. That's what happened there. William Kimball, thanks for $5 in the super chat. Jonathan Gill, thank you for $10 in the super chat. Now we're back to HUFPV. And who did I miss? Did I miss one? Eric LaPlante. No, I don't think I missed one. Devin Linares. I think I'm caught up. Yeah, we're all the way back to 845. Yeah, I think I'm caught up. Coelho says, is there any merit to placing a TVS across the wire pads? Yeah, Coelho, so a TVS diode, for those who are not electronics experts like me, a TVS diode basically prevents back voltage or back current and can protect against those back voltage spikes that fry ESCs. Some people have suggested placing a TVS diode on the ESC power pads instead of a capacitor, and I say no. There might be some merit to using a TVS diode in addition to a capacitor, but a capacitor is still important because, number one, a capacitor protects against spikes both directions, whereas a TVS diode only protects in one direction. It only sort of shaves off the top of the spikes, if you will. Dominic Clifton earlier, I mean, if anybody knows, he does, he said TVS diode in response to this fried ESC. So that probably means there's some merit to it. The real question is, why don't ESCs come with TVS diodes pre-installed? Maybe some of them do. Maybe that's why some of them fry and others don't. Coelho, I do think there's merit to it. Only, and I say that only because I've heard other people talk about it, not because I, like, am such an expert on electronics that my opinion about it matters. Thank you, B. Rye, for $5 in the super chat. Thanks for answering my question and all you do. Big help. Thank you. Skunk9 wants to know, can we come fly quads at your house? No. We're social distancing. Even if I did want you to come fly quads at my house, and I'm kind of an introvert, so I kind of don't. Please don't take that personally. People are like, hey, I'm coming through town. I'm going to be swinging through Knoxville. I wonder if you want to meet up and, like, I could fly some packs at your house. And I'm like, not really. No offense. That's not, like, what I would like to do with my afternoon. Sorry. I'm kind of an introvert. So you can come, but right now you definitely can't come fly quads at my house because we're social distancing, man. Stay away. Stay away. You can fly quads at my house in Liftoff, though. There you go. Liftoff. There's Phantom FPV in the chat. Phantom FPV, the creator of the 2700 kV 6S quad that does not, with a maximum speed of 100 miles an hour. $12S 5-inch quads. Man, Doc, any plans on building one? I don't know, man. Like, there's a point where the higher voltage, like when I built the Beast class, one of the things that Catalyst Machine Works told me was that for 12S, that's like 50 volts. That's enough that if there's a little bit of water or moisture, it'll short and it'll fry something. They were like, you got to conformal coat everything. Like 12S is like, it's not going to, 50 volts is not enough to like hurt you. But if your skin was wet, you could shock yourself on 50 volts. 50 volts is getting up to the point where all of the components are, do you know that I think NERC used APD ESCs. Those are like $80 or $100 ESCs. Like, there's just like, why? It's because it's awesome, but no, it's not like 12S is going to be the new 6S. NERC did a 7-inch quad on 12S, I believe, not a 5-inch. That 7-inch flew amazing too. Did you guys see this? If you didn't see this, and I always just assume that everybody in the world has the same internet that I do. If you didn't see this, look at this. First of all, look at this handsome. Look at this handsome gentleman. He's going to fly a 12S 7-inch, 1.5 kilograms, 1,500 grams. Hang on. Where does he fly it? This is the... Where's the actual... This is at his house. This is not the video I saw. Where's the... Yeah, here we go. Here we go. 7-inch. 1,500 grams, 7-inch. Are you kidding me? Look how good it flies. Speed run here. Also not in excess of 100 miles an hour. That would not be... There's a more recent one with a 5-inch? Really? This must be the 7-inch. Well, is this 5-inch or 7-inch? Let's check. So he's going 12S, but this is a 6x4x3 is the prop on this one. 6x4x3. Let's see. What else did he do? Freestyling the 12S Monster. This is the one that I remembered. This is a 7-inch. He gets in here around these, doing some proximity stuff around here. Where's the prop wash? Does that look like a 1,500 gram quad? It's pretty amazing, honestly. Woo, look at him go. Look at that boy go. Yeah, so pretty impressive. That's I'll paste the link here. That's Paul Nurkala doing some 12S nonsense. It might be hyper smooth. It's possible, Nimble Gimbal. But the thing is, hyper smooth can't smooth out the sound of the motors. You can hear whether the motors are smooth. So, yeah. The problem, yeah, exactly, Joe Sa. On 7-inch props, you'll get a little bit of lag, a little bit of delay in the throttle. But on 12S, nah. Torque for days. Here's his 5-inch, huh? I haven't seen this. Hold on. Oh, the sound is pulled way down. Let me turn the sound up. This is a 5-inch 12S? Oh, this is Quad Mover, not Nerf. Now, Quad Mover, if you've never seen him, he flies line of sight. He's insane. If you have never seen Quad Mover, prepare to get your mind blown. This is a line of sight. Oh, you can't see it because I didn't shift the scene. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Yeah, you'll catch up. You'll catch up. Let's wait for you guys to catch up. Here we go. Ready? Can't believe he flies like how does he even he just must fly by feel. How does he even know orientation? Oh my god. He's crazy good. He's crazy good. There you go. How about that? Quad Mover is insane. One of the best at line of sight, I think it's fair to say. One of the best. John Larson, thank you for $5 in the super chat. Says I need a bobblehead from FPV Friends like Bot Grinder. I would love that. FPV Friends, call me. B. Rye, thank you for $5. Okay. We're coming up to the end of the stream, guys. It's 9:48. The stream ends at 10 p.m. So we got a few more minutes for you to get your questions in. Have you got any questions? I haven't seen Aaron Ciotti in the chat. I assume Ciotti is going to be streaming at 10. He usually does. But in the meantime, can you explain why the copper wire of VTX antennas on the Mobula 6 is so long, asks Mr. Shady. Mr. Shady, there's two possibilities. One is that they got the wire length wrong. I mean, we can't rule that out. Another is that the impedance of the system is in some way, I guess it's the reactance of the system, is in some way changing the optimal length of the wire based on the tuning. For example, in coaxial cable, the propagation speed of the signal is between maybe 60 and 70% the speed of light, which means that when making an antenna out of coaxial cable, the antenna is actually longer than you calculate for the wavelength, because when you calculate the wavelength, you calculate it at the speed of light. Here's the link to the Quad Mover video if you want to check it out. It's possible that there's something about the circuit or about that wire that means that the optimal tuning length is not the length you think it should be. Not 100% sure about that, but maybe they just got the length wrong. The only way to really tell would be to test the length using, well, yeah. I was going to say using a meter, but it's just a little length of wire. And if there's something about the circuit when you solder it up that changes it, you would have to test it that way. Danger Dave wants to know if I've heard of issues with FreeSky antenna quality. FreeSky antenna quality. Do you mean FreeSky transmitter or FreeSky receiver? They break so easily, but no upgrades available. IPEX 4 only. Since you're talking about IPEX, Danger Dave, you definitely can get spare antennas. Like, I just helped somebody with spare antennas for an XM Plus on race day quads. Danger Dave, if you want to reach out to me with, we'll figure out exactly what kind of antenna you're talking about. The receiver antenna, like for an XM Plus, like where are you in the United States? I know race day quads has them in stock. I know for a fact. Sounds like Ciati will not be streaming today. Hopefully he's doing okay. Oh, for R9? R9, I think, has the bigger UFL connector, doesn't it? Danger Dave, does that have the big or the small IPEX connector? Yeah, for R9, and thanks, FreeSky, because FreeSky put the different UFL connector on their receiver, so you could not use a Crossfire antenna on a FreeSky receiver or vice versa. Thanks for that. That was such a good decision to make for your customers. Now they can't use a competitor's antenna even if it's better, and that is bad for your customers and good for you. Really unfortunate. Crossfire has the larger UFL connector. IPEX 4 is the small one. That's the one FreeSky uses. Unfortunately, Danger Dave, unless you intend to make your own antenna, I think you are stuck buying the antenna from FreeSky or from a vendor. I don't think that there's many options out there for you. Yeah. Mirek Bialuicki says Stu from UAV Futures just started his live stream. How dare he? How dare he stream over me? You don't start 8 minutes over. Stu, are you streaming now?
Coming up as well.
Oh my God.
Also, but I don't know if they're going to be. A lot of people always ask about the $99 build. You guys just got to still hang on for that one. It's still a little while off. Little bit of a spoiler alert. Alrighty. Did you blow dry your hair? You know what? This was a terrible time to miss getting a haircut. We can't even go outside now. It makes it really tricky for me. I don't know what's it like where you guys are, but I can't even go outside to go flying. We are allowed out for, it feels like we're in prison or something, actually, like a complete lockdown.
Okay, let's see.
We can do, there's 4 reasons you can leave your house. You can go for a walk around the block. You can go get food or suppliers.
It's going to take him a minute to notice.
Medical examinations and checkups and all that sort of stuff. And I can't remember what the fourth one was. Maybe that was 4. I don't know, but yeah, we're pretty much stuck inside. It makes it really tricky to definitely do some drone flying work anyway. So, radio. Let's have a look. First things first, what I want to do, we're going to jump in and have a look at one of my very, very old videos.
Hey, I left a super chat. How dare you not read my super chat immediately?
Joshua Bardwell's jumped in here with my first whatever. What do you call these things? A yellow super chat. Thanks, Josh. How dare you start your stream while I'm streaming? This means war. Okay, let me Google how to do that. Do you do a live stream, Joshua Bardwell?
Do I do a live stream?
I learned something today.
Do I do a live stream?
How dare you? Live streams, but
do I do a live stream?
But I think we both know we ripped those off from Trevor because the original Grumpy Man himself, he was the original Q&A. What would happen to this if you watch my stream, I watch your stream, and then I don't know. Anyway,
I'll have to mute. Nothing
but love for Bardwell. I'm a big fan of his. I learn something from him all the time watching his videos. Ready? I'm getting a lot of things pinging up. Hey, fan since day one. This is from Quicksilver. I'm a paramedic in the United States. The lockdown has been pretty challenging.
You can go raid his stream after my stream ends, guys. It's 9:55 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out to the stream. We're going to wrap up. I guess Ciati is not streaming. But go raid his stream. Send him lots of super chats. Show him the love. And it currently has 10 thumbs up. So 62 watching. You got to start on the hour. Oh, Ciati's here. Never mind. Go to Ciati. I don't know. Um, Ciati asked me to go long. Did I miss that? Hey, Ciati, what's up, dude? Here, I'm starting to wrap up. Yeah. I was going to say, thank you for coming out. I learned something in this stream about shunt resistors, so thank you for that. I also learned that Stu doesn't have YouTube Red. Stu, why are you watching a commercial, dude? Don't watch a commercial. Stu doesn't have... Come on. Use ad blocker. Oh, wow. So what's coming up on this week on my channel? Let's check it out. Here is... Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Coming up on this week on my channel, we're going to have a new product roundup and giveaway. Oh, that was supposed to be today. Wow. I failed. I was supposed to make that today. Oh, well. So I'll just have to shuffle that around. Beta FPV 60. Wow, I got to really get up. I got to really get off my ass. Hang on. Boop. Boop. Look at that. Look at that. Thanks, Trello. Whole week. Boop. Now I'm not behind anymore. Yeah. Oh, anyway, this is what's coming up. New product roundup giveaway, I guess tomorrow. There you go. Beta FPV 65X HD, the smallest high definition tiny whoop. We'll find out more about that. Going to be installing BL Touch on my Sovol 3D printer. And I got a tutorial about Betaflight Dynamic Idle. And my 3 packs per day challenge is also coming up. So, yeah, Saturday is my slip day. So the way my official schedule is, we got a minute. My official schedule is that I post on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is my off day, and then Sunday, Monday, I live stream. If there's a busy week or a high priority topic, I slip it in on Monday. If you guys ever see me post a Monday video, you know that I really thought that was an important video to get out because I could have just pushed it off till next week. And then Saturday, if you see me miss a video on Monday and then post on Saturday, it means my whole week slipped. So anyway, that's what's coming up this week. Look forward to that. And look forward also to Aaron Ciati. Aaron, post that link, buddy. Tuning the ultimate freestyle whoop from scratch. And or you can go check out UAV Futures. So thank you guys so much for coming out. Be safe wherever you are. Hopefully the worst thing that's happening to you this week is that you're having to spend a bunch of time in your house. You know, wash your hands. So happy flying, everybody. We're out of here.